Hi, everyone. So, the courses in human and environmental threat, and I took them last fall, 3 of them, just that happened. I just transferred from the Anza Community College. It was a good choice, basically. So, the 3 courses are Introduction to Environmental Studies, the American Cultural American Environmental and Cultural History, and the Southern Border. The Introduction to Environmental Study course is a preface to the current global environmental issues and ways the human relationship to nature has been reflected in literature. Some of the themes discussed in lecture and readings are more environmental science oriented, such as water and carbon cycle, evolution and design of nature, human domination of earth ecosystem, structuring function of agricultural and forest ecosystem, monoculture, and diversified farming. Yeah, it's completely different from the topics that we have today. Other themes are more socially oriented and include themes like population dynamics, California's water, world water distribution, consequences of green revolution, and the establishment of suburbs and cities. Also, environmental justice, environmental ethics, and the idea of wilderness. The readings provide powerful insights about the relationship between humans and the environment. For instance, Richard Nelson's The Virtual World describes native Indians' perception of the natural environment. According to them, all things in nature have a special kind of life, and the natural and spiritual worlds are inseparable. Similar perspective can be seen in the work of the American poet Gary Snyder. His poetry reflects both his admiration of nature, like in Burning the Small Dead, and the concern for the environment, like in Logging. Rachel Carlson's Silent Spring is a beautifully written piece of literature and at the same time a strong argument against the irresponsible use of chemicals. Aldo Leopold's Ascent Country Almanac establishes the foundation of modern environmental ethics. For Willis Stigner, an American historian, writer, and environmentalist, nature embraces wilderness and human culture, but human culture has evolved into an antagonistic approach toward wilderness. Many topics were presented but guest lectures, and writing assignments included a personal environmental history, literature analysis, and weekly journal reflections. The second course, American Environment Cultural History, presents the history of the American environment and the ways in which American Indians, Europeans, and African Americans have perceived, used, managed, and conserved nature from colonial times to the present. Key themes include Native American ecology and the drastic effects of European settlements on North American ecosystems. The use of natural resources in one crop agriculture, mining, forests, and urbanization also will examine. Also, how the dust storms in the Great Plains in the 1930s brought both ecological, economical, and human misery to America, and the lesson that working with nature, not against nature, a manner of agriculture benefits the long-term well-being of ecosystem and humans. In his article, The Trouble with Wilderness, or Getting Back to the Wrong Nature, William Cronon, the University of Wisconsin professor, argues that wilderness ideology creates a duality between humans and nature that may lead to irresponsible action toward the non-human natural world. Additionally, to changes his attitude and behavior toward nature, the birth of conservation and environmental movements were also examined. Part of the course is creating a project that reflects students' personal response to American environmental history. I used some of the images created by Norval Mauricio, an American Indian artist who was the first to paint the cultural heritage of Indians, to present key elements of Indian culture such as high respect for land, animism, shamanism, and oral traditions. Course reading include major problems in American environmental history, edited by Caroline Merchant. It's a collection of documents and essays, and also readings on the course website. Writing assignments involve film reflections. Films are coordinated with the lectures and readings and illustrate the themes of the course. For instance, A Son of Africa is about the story of a victim of the slave trade, whose autobiography contributed to the later abolition of slavery. The third course, The Southern Border, traces the processes that have defined today's American southern border. It focuses on the history of Mexico and the United States' relationship with Mexico, as well as on the issues on trade, immigration, drug war, security, globalization, education, and the environment. As globalization has progressed, the United States and Mexico have become more interdependent, but this remains an asymmetrical interdependence, as Mexico is in a more vulnerable position and more easily buffered by political, economic, and social trends at play inside its larger neighbors. Other themes include the social and political processes in Haiti, Cuba, and Guatemala, and the United States' relationship with these countries. Promoting large-scale monoculture and free trading zones have destroyed the small local food farms. When in such poor areas the basic economy is destabilized, this leads to more poverty and complete dependency of investors. Key readings include Paradise in Ashes by Professor Beatrice Mantz, about the terror of the civil war in Guatemala and the struggles of peasants for land. Brother, I'm Dying displays the struggles in Haiti and the experience of Haitian asylum seekers in America. And Cuba, what everyone needs to know is about the regime of Fidel Castro. The Wind Doesn't Need a Passport tells readers how people on the Mexico borders live and work. All three courses relate to one another in terms of how human perspectives on prosperity shapes the environment. The human perception of prosperity usually sees accumulation of material wealth and large-scale development, such large-scale dams and infrastructures, as progress. From an ecological point of view, this progress, in fact, is immense environmental degradation. It is depletion of natural resources, alternation of geographic landscapes, destruction of ecosystems, and a cause for the extinction of plants and animal species. The Introduction to Environmental Study course looks at environmental degradation through the lenses of a science and a poet. The environmental science approach focuses on the physical destruction, on processes such as air, water, and soil pollution, deforestation, and biodiversity loss. The poet's approach entails combining different experiences of environmental degradation and voicing environmental concerns. The American Environmental and Cultural History course looks at environmental degradation through the eco-philosophical perspectives. It explains that commercialization of nature, consumerism, and materialism have impacted the health of natural and social environments. The Southern Border course explains environmental degradation based on the assumption that environmental change is the product of political processes, in that the costs and the benefits associated with ecological changes are generally distributed unequally. The border between the United States and Mexico is on the ground example of environmental degradation. Since 1994, the North American Free Trade Agreement has consolidated long-term trends in industrialization, agricultural intensification, and urbanization of the US-Mexico border that have caused major disturbance to the environment and to the health of the workers. Toxic waste and unsafe working and living conditions have catalyzed environmental social movements. All three courses increase my understanding of environmental harms and their long-term consequences. They evoke the Native American traditional proverb, "We don't inherit the earth from our ancestors, we borrow it from our children." However, human impact on the environment, ongoing loss of biodiversity and pollution mean that current generation can no longer ensure that future generations have similar opportunities to benefit from and to enjoy the natural environment as current generations have. The future generations depend on our willingness to modify our behavior and our perception of prosperity.